guys. So this week we are reviewing one of our anticipated movies of this year, The Flash, directed by Andy Muschietti, starring Ezra Miller, Michael Keaton, and Sasha Calle. Um, Here's a quick plot synopsis in case you do not know, in case you're unaware. Worlds collide when the Flash uses his superpowers to travel back in time to change the events of the past. However, when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, he becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation. With no other superheroes to turn to, the Flash looks to coax a very different Batman out of retirement and rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian, albeit not the one he's looking for. And first and foremost, before we start our review, I just want to say this review has nothing to do with Ezra Miller's actions, and we do not condone Ezra Miller's actions throughout the past couple years. So, let's get to the movie.
Oh, yeah. Can I?
We actually have a video right here that will be linked about us, our thoughts on Ezra Miller's actions.
I can link it, yeah, actually.
Before we start the review, too, can I please just say how much Ezra Miller looks like Jimmy Fallon? It's crazy. They look identical.
I can see
not
a little
identical,
bit.
but they do look really, really similar.
They have
it's because of the haircut.
Yeah,
there's this one scene in particular when he. Oh, I can't say that. Sorry, not the spoiler, but
it's a spoiler
it's in
free.
The trailer when he meets himself, like in the trailer. It's in the trailer. That frame where he's looking at it, it looks exactly like Jimmy Fallon, like twins almost. It's just the angle and the lighting. It's crazy.
I can see it, honestly.
I kept thinking that the whole movie.
They do. Right. They look really similar. Not like identical. I think that's a bit much, but they do look like. If you put them side by side, you'd be like, damn, they look really, really similar.
You do that thing where their faces morph, and everyone's gonna be like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
What y'all think?
Non-spoiler, first thoughts or cons?
Disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, extremely disappointed.
Why?
Well, I went in already thinking that it was going to be bad, but I was disappointed that the story was kind of shit. It was a lot of, hey, we need you to reset the universe, and fuck the story that goes into it, just reset the universe and you're fine.
I feel like the story was there. The story could have been amazing. But
yeah, it's Flashpoint. The story has always been there, but they didn't do it.
No, I'm saying just the story that was in this movie, particular. I felt like it was all there. I just think they sidelined some of the major points too much.
They sidelined all of the major points.
Yeah, that's the only problem I had. It was more of an. I get the adventure of going from here to here, but there's just like no huge villain. There was just it was a little sidelined.
Yeah, when you think about it, there really wasn't a main villain.
There was.
I mean, there was, but it's like, it wasn't, there was no build up.
But it's not his villain. It wasn't his villain.
There's an antagonist, but there's no fucking main villain. That's what it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
There's an antagonizing force, but there is no villain.
I agree.
And there's I actually love the story. I'm going to say that right now. But there were pieces, because this is an adaptation of Flashpoint. This is an adaptation of Flashpoint, right? And I think there are certain elements of Flashpoint, like pretty big elements, that are missing from this, that should have been there
and
to make it a little bit better.
The parts about the story are the parts that stick to Flashpoint.
Yes, but I also like the direction they went with it, especially with how self-reflective it was of Barry. Because this is their origin of Flash, and I like how they did it.
I enjoy that too. However, I will counter you with, there was only 10 minutes of that in the movie.
10 minutes of what?
Disagree.
Of him being self-reflective?
Oh, no,
I disagree. Yeah, I completely disagree.
Sounds like the whole movie.
No, it was not the whole movie.
It was, I think. Because he was learning as he went. But
I'll get more into that here in a minute. But I think the elephant in the room, the pretty big elephant in the room that we're just going to go ahead and talk about is, I don't know what happened to their budget, but the CGI was pretty bad.
It wasn't bad. It was intentional.
No,
Okay.
I'm half and half with that comment because I think it's bullshit. I do think that half of it he's talking about is when he's in the Speed Force and everything's going so
Oh
fast
yeah,
that
the
you're just
the
like,
Speed Force stuff you can definitely tell that was stylized, but everything else is like, nah, bro, fuck off. You did not mean for it to look that way.
and I think and that's not a spoiler. You should know he's going to be in the Speed Force. But the biggest thing I think is with when he meets himself, it's sometimes his face looks good, but sometimes it doesn't. His other face.
Yeah.
When they're in the same frame, I think the biggest thing, my theory, is that the budget was too much into like having these two people on screen at the same time, like the whole movie. And that's pretty difficult to do just with like a couple scenes. But he did it throughout the whole movie, so it's
Okay,
all going
but
through his face.
there have been low budget movies that do this perfectly. So that is the budget is not an excuse for that whatsoever.
That's fair.
I personally am not
Me,
good at
me,
pointing out
you, and Anthony
and
could
stuff.
could sit down right here in my house, make a movie about us meeting twins of each other, and it will look better than what they did.
I disagree. I personally thought the CGI was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you know why you think it looks good? Because it looks like the CW Flash in season one.
Better. No, it looks way better than the
It looks identical to season one CW Flash.
Nah, it looks way better.
It did not look way better, dog.
It
didn't. I'm sorry.
I love that very first scene when we saw him running too, and he was like running across the country.
No. After that, ran out of money. That scene wiped their whole budget out because right after that, it looked like the CW. That part, I was like, oh shit! If this all looks like this, fuck it. This is gonna be fun. I'm gonna like the way it looks. The scenes where he's running always look really, really phenomenal, but the fight scene at the end, dog shit. The part where I can't even say that, but the part where he's actually time traveling, mid as fuck.
I don't know.
I
didn't catch it, but
I-
I wonder too if it is budget. I wonder if it's because of all the allegations against him with that.
I can tell you right now,
that doesn't matter, dog.
It's the time that they gave the CGI artists to work on it. Like
I agree,
100%, this movie was super rushed out. You can tell it's rushed out because you can see where they cut corners. You can see where they cut corners with refilming. This was a production disaster, so they definitely handed the CGI studios the movie probably like 3-4 months before this movie's supposed to be out, and they're like, "Here, you got 80,000 shots. Knock yourself out, dog."
They're like, "What?"
And I guarantee you, the only parts that they had in advance were the parts that actually look good. And it's probably because those were the parts of the story that were left unchanged.
Yeah, more than likely. That's how it is nowadays with any wonky CGI, overworked VFX artists.
Moving on from the CGI, I do want to talk about one disappointment, one pretty big disappointment I had, and it's not terrible, but I think the trailers revealed way too much because what you saw in the trailer is what you got in the movie. I feel like there was nothing extra, you know?
Yeah, that is 100% accurate.
There's really no, I mean, there was a plot twist, but
it wasn't even a plot twist.
It was nothing huge, you know? It was solved quickly, and it was just, the movie was the trailers.
The trailers gave away the plot twist.
When? I didn't watch enough trailers to know that, I guess, but but to be fair, also, I kind of predicted the plot twist like months ago. And it was funny because I said it as a joke.
I think we talked about it. I think you said it on record on the podcast too.
Yeah, but that's okay. I actually wanted to go back to what you said about the way he runs because this is a pro, but like I actually really love the way they portrayed him running, but and going into the Speed Force. But I did think there was moments, and maybe it's just me, but it felt very cartoony, like with some of his movement and the way, and sometimes when he like his like I don't know if you like his like long strides or not, but it was real cartoony.
I didn't mind the long strides because what it looks like is it makes it look like he's swimming through like the resistance that he's feeling. Like that's what it makes it look. It looks like he's running, but he's like trying to swim through all the air resistance that he's getting against him.
Yeah, okay.
Which
yeah.
I honestly really liked, and it made it feel really unique, and I appreciated that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess going from there, I did think
I fucking love the flash time parts too. I just wish they had better fucking than PS2 CG models while he was in flash time.
yeah.
Another thing I really like is about flash time specifically is when everything would kind of freeze in time. It showed how fast he has to think. Like in the very beginning, I won't say what, but you know that main problem he's trying to cause, and he has to go different places to help. You know,
Yeah.
us like even if time was frozen, we would never be able to like figure that out. You know, it just
Yeah.
shows how fast his mind runs, and it kind of does that throughout the whole movie too. He has to think and learn on the fly 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I really like that. Like it's even if time's frozen, it's still not easy. You know, like
Yeah.
he has to try to figure out what to do and how to do things, and it's
One
still
of
pretty
my
difficult.
going off that, one of my favorite scenes they showcased was actually the one when he was saving the babies, because there's so much chaos going on, and it seems like he like doesn't have all the time in the world, but in the sense he does. He just has to, like,
That was a spoiler.
Yeah, it was. That's why I didn't say it, but they don't know what that means, so it's fine. He saved some babies.
my bad, I got too excited.
But no, I agree. I like that scene.
No, like the opening, like 20 minutes of this movie was like set up like the best Flash movie of all time,
Yeah,
and then it just collapsed after that, and I was like, oh man, come
I
on,
don't think it
come
collapsed.
on.
I have a lot to say about the story. Um,
I do too. I'm interested to see why you like this.
I will say.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say the last thing I have before spoilers is I was really afraid because we knew Batman was gonna be in it. We knew Supergirl was gonna be in it. We knew those people at least. I was afraid this would end up almost being like a Justice League movie, like a team up movie, but 100% this was a Flash movie. This was like 100% centered on him. It wasn't
agree.
centered on the other characters. It was all him. So I really like that.
I do have to throw in there. Sasha Kaye, she did good. Michael Keaton was badass. Michael Keaton was awesome. He was the same old Michael Keaton as he was in 1989. And just with these updated CGI and action sequences he can use with modern technology, he just looks 10 times better.
Yeah.
I still think it's so funny that he has to look up with his whole body. Like he's just like, oh.
It was so.
He's like, oh, there it is.
There's a particular scene I loved about it because it encapsulates Batman as a human being. We'll talk about it in a little while, but other than that, I thought for a superhero film, because a lot of them are like pretty shitty when it comes to like comedy, I thought this one was genuinely funny. Like I had a few chuckles.
I think
this one did have good laughs.
Yeah,
good jokes. Good jokes.
Also, dude, I loved Supergirl. Like just the way they portrayed her, like in her rags after she escaped, like in the trailer.
You should have seen Superman and Flashpoint, dog.
It was just
the part that like triggers me so hard is every scene that we saw her in. We saw her in the trailer. There was almost no new scenes with her.
That's true, but every scene was so amazing with her. I wish they portrayed Superman like that sometimes.
And I guess the one guy we haven't talked about, I know what's going on. This has everything to do with the movie. I thought Ezra Miller played the Flash really well, especially with the chemistry with his other self, like that. Like they were two different people.
I think that is the part that pisses me off the most. Is that this motherfucker stole the show. Yeah, like, he very clearly, like he was the best actor on the screen. At any given moment.
James Gunn's comments about bringing him back are justified after seeing it. After wanting to,
I don't think anything like that is ever justified. Shut the fuck up. No, he still needs to be fired. Like he still needs to be toast canned, thrown in the bottomless pits of hell.
I agree, but I'm saying from an acting standpoint, like it's justified for him to think like, man, he's such a good actor. Like, I wish we can bring him back. Based on his performance, not on anything he did. Off of the shit he did, yeah, he should be gone. But from an acting standpoint, if he hadn't done those things, I can see why James Gunn would want to bring him back. After seeing this film. Anyways.
I definitely think James Gunn's comments on this being the best superhero movie ever made is completely falsified. And was bullshit.
I completely agree, but
considering James Gunn made the best superhero movie that we've seen in the big screen in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Yeah, I don't agree. But anyways, we won't get on that.
Yeah, we're at the core, this is a Flash origin story that might tumble.
It's not even a Flash origin story. It's a DC Universe rebooted origin story.
It's an origin story, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But it's fun. It's a fun movie that has lots of cool cameos, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Cool cameos, a lot of great acting, I'd say, and I just think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Honestly,
yeah,
I'd recommend it.
The cameos didn't take away from the movie either. Like, it showed the cameos and then it moved on. It was the spotlight was still on Ezra Miller the whole time.
Oh yeah, and we'll talk about that. It was really cool. But yeah, I recommend. Do y'all recommend?
I recommend.
I would, not heavily though.
Okay, that's fair. All right, thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure you leave a comment or a review on any of our other podcast platforms you're listening on. Check the links in the description for all of our merch, all of our social media, and make sure you say hi to Ron for us. And we're going to get into the spoiler review.
I will say too, this is not about this movie specifically, but we've only seen a younger, kind of naive version of Barry, both the DC universe and the CW universe.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see like an older, matured, experienced Flash. That'd be cool.
That's what we got in the last 4 seasons of The Flash.
I guess, but
that is exactly what we got. That's why they had to introduce his daughter and shit, because he got too mature, so they needed to sprinkle in some some immaturities for him to clean up.
That doesn't count because he can't catch a normal guy on a skateboard if you wanted to,
Yeah, because plot nerf. No, exactly. He's experienced.
I will say this.
Experienced Flash.
I will say this. I do value y'all's opinion on this movie just because of this character, just because of how much source material y'all have seen.
Right. I would never finish the CW.
I would never subject myself to that type of torture.
The last season got a little better, but anyways,
we can go back.
I've seen that the last season was good, but then I can't get to that because I have to watch the worst seasons of it to get there.
It's not worth it.
But we can get into the spoilers of what we didn't like about it. I would say
spoiler alert: fucking Batman gets railed by the Joker at the end of the movie.
Holy shit! No, but the things I didn't like, based on the adaptation, I like the direction it went, but the things I would change is the first off, I think a big part of Flashpoint and the shared trauma between Batman and Flash, I thought they portrayed it really well. But I think the biggest thing that they did in the Flashpoint, the animation, was when he got the letter from Bruce's father.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish, I like that Keaton was there. I kind of wish Keaton played his father, played Thomas.
I wish it was Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Or that, yeah.
They had a perfect big list actor cast as his dad already. I'll let y'all get.
I'm confused. Who are y'all talking about?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He played the dad in.
He's
been playing the dad in his DCU.
He played Ben Affleck's Batman's dad in the
Thomas.
And he played Thomas Wayne in
because
Batman v Superman.
I think the way they share that trauma and just the cherry on top from that animation was always that he came back to Bruce and showed all the things that his dad would have wanted to tell him.
Okay, so my issue was strictly compared to the source material is that they had to fabricate a big bad. So in the comics, the issue with the world that he comes back to is that Wonder Woman and Aquaman are fighting each other. They're in this huge war that's destroying the entire planet. They both have their entire kingdoms just at odds. Well, Aquaman is flooding one half of the world. The Amazons are fucking absolutely demolishing and enslaving humans in the other part.
This is what the actual Flashpoint movie was.
Yeah, so this is what the actual comics like portray, and I think that them making up Zod, bullshit, did not need to happen. They had a perfectly good like way to include other Justice League members, and it could put it within the world, and it would have
liked the way that they did it, because I don't think it would have been necessarily a Flash movie. I like that it was Zod because you could still focus on Flash. You know, it didn't take away. Now, I wish Zod was a bigger deal. Like I said, I think he got sidelined, but I like that they went that direction.
Well, the part about them fighting each other is like the Flash sees this going on. He's like, "Hey, these are my best friends killing each other. What the fuck is going on?" Like, it very much focuses on the Flash, even though this stuff is going on in the comics. Like, this huge stuff is like going on. The world is ending. He sees it. He tries to fix it. Like, and I think that would have been a cool way to incorporate it within the bigger universe instead of tying every motherfucking superhero in this goddamn universe back to that one fucking fight with Zod. Every fucking superhero has their origin tied to that fucking new Metropolis fucking explosion. There's no need to come back to that exact scene every single motherfucking movie, dog. You can have a fucking superhero come outside of that origin. Like, I think that one altercation started the Flash, and Batman, and it got Wonder Woman noticing fucking Superman and all of those motherfuckers.
I think the biggest slap in the face was the fact that Wonder Woman and Aquaman didn't even exist.
Same. Like, there's no need for that. They are the biggest like antagonizing forces in the original Flashpoint comic. They have perfect actors cast in both of those. They fucking put Jason Momoa in the fucking post-credit scene, so they had access to Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Like they could have done something like that, and I think it would have made it a more well-rounded story than taking you off to the side and introducing new characters you haven't met and putting them in a world you've already seen before. It would have been a nice way to make it separate, since they're using this movie to reset the universe anyways. You could have gotten away from the old universe's origin story and started a new one, you know? Instead, tying it back to the old universe, it's forever going to be locked in that perspective.
I'm not saying it should have been 1-to-1, but I also thought it was bullshit that the director came out and was like, yeah, Reverse Flash killed his mom, but we had no indication of that in the film.
I think the dumbest part about that, too, we don't have a real villain in this movie. They could have just had the Reverse Flash. He said he killed his mom, but the worst part about Flashpoint is he goes back, he stops his mom from dying, and then the Reverse Flash reveals himself and just shatters Barry into a million pieces, because that means he has to let himself lose to like his biggest villain. Like, ultimately, he has to let them know that they win, and that's just like part of like that. That would have been a much more hard hitting conclusion than seeing a version of himself go crazy trying to save his mom when he's just sitting there just chilling. Like, that would have been a much better villain than himself. And I think we were robbed of like a really, really, really fantastic Flash villain.
I will say this too, and like I said, I do enjoy this being his like quote unquote origin. I did enjoy the story, and I'll explain it here in a little bit. But at the same time, there were times where this felt like this movie was a little too big. Like, it might have been split in two, or I feel like they should have just done the regular origin shit, and then this should have been the second movie.
Why do you think this was his origin story?
Okay, we'll get into that right now.
That's what I want.
I think this
to me, it's his like maturity story, but it's not like his origin. Like, he already has all his powers like perfected at this point.
No, it's both. It's both, and I thought it was really unique how they were able to tell the story of both him and his younger self without doing flashbacks. They showed a younger Barry that, of course, was reckless with his powers, of course, thought he could do everything, thought he knew what he was doing, and that's his origin, having his older self be the mentor to his younger self. And I thought that was really unique as an origin story to do.
Well, see, that would have been fine if his younger self ended up being the version of the Flash that we see in the current DCU. But it wasn't.
Yes.
So it's not an origin story at all. It's his mentorship story.
Yes, but it goes both ways, because it shows it shows how the older Barry is able to mature from that situation too, and because he's the actual Flash.
It's a maturity story, not an origin story.
No, it goes both ways. That's
There's
what I'm telling you.
like
It
the
still
only
shows
thing
how
he
he
learned
was
how
when he
to
was
do is
younger.
time travel in this movie. It didn't show him how to do anything else.
It still showed him how to do that, how to let go of his past. It also showed how genuine he was as a person, like as a human being, not just like he literally brought back, not in his universe, but he brought back Supergirl and Batman out to fight just because he thinks it's for the greater good. It's not just he's not doing it just for his own good. He's doing it because it's the right thing to do morally.
Yeah, it's a Flash movie, not a Flash origin movie.
I think it's both.
A Flash origin movie
ways.
shows him getting his powers and learning how to use them.
Which the younger self did.
Everything.
Which his younger self did.
Yeah, but then his younger self fucking dies, so it doesn't matter.
His younger self has to go through that for his older self to learn.
Okay, but his older self already fucking mastered how to do everything.
Yes, but we don't. Yes, but we don't know that. As an audience, we don't know that, and we see that through the younger Barry. We never seen that on screen.
Do you consider No Way Home a Spider-Man origin story?
That's different. The two Spider-Men
weren't there the entire film. It is the exact same type of movie.
No, the two Spider-Men were not there the entire movie to help him.
Yeah, neither was Batman and Supergirl. They showed up in the last hour and ruined the movie.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the younger Barry. I'm not talking about Supergirl and Batman.
I still don't, this is not a Flash origin story. It's not. It's a Flash movie. It's showing him to mature and giving him character development. But just because he gets character development doesn't mean it's a fucking origin story.
I'm not talking about older Barry having the origin. I'm talking about younger Barry. Younger Barry, it's showing his.
Younger Barry does not matter in this movie. Younger Barry is a literal just throwaway gag to have a villain in the movie.
Younger Barry and older Barry are the exact same people. So
they're not the same people. They're not. Younger Barry had a fucking mom the entire time. That is the difference. It is not the same Barry, so it is not the same origin story. So it is not a origin story because it is not the same version of the Flash.
It's not the same version, but it's the same way he got his powers. It's the same way he acted when he got his powers. He literally said that. He was like, "Was I really this annoying?"
He wasn't though, because he didn't have a mom, so he wouldn't have been that annoying. He wouldn't have been such a spoiled brat because he didn't have his mom.
I'm gonna agree to disagree. I thought the way they did this, even if it's not an origin, I think the way they did this with both Barrys was really unique compared to other stories.
The better ending of the movie would have had young Barry be the one to go back and fix everything, and have him be the one.
That misses the complete point. Nothing's supposed to be. Oh, never mind. You meant like with putting the tomatoes back.
Yeah. I think it should have been.
I thought you meant with what younger Barry kept doing, kept going back and back. I was about to say no. That was the whole point of the movie.
They should have had younger Barry be the one to go back into the main universe.
No, I don't think so.
They should have written a way to have older Barry sacrifice himself to fix the universe, so younger Barry could go back and not make those same mistakes.
No, I like the way it ended out. I really thought this was. I love the story at its core. Just you have to let go of the past. You have to finally live in the present. Just all the grief he goes through, all the trauma that he shares, which I love. Like I said, I love how he shared it with Batman.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they spent more time on that, but instead they gave us 30 minutes of them fighting a pointless villain that was inconsequential to almost the main story.
I do
like that whole Zod fight at the end was just useless. It made introducing Supergirl almost completely useless because she was just showed up to die and then disappear.
It made me watch Michael Keaton die 50 fucking times.
It almost made him useless in the movie.
No,
the only reason I'm saying he's not useless is because he helped Barry deal with that trauma. But the Supergirl character, you could have gone without introducing her and had the exact same movie. They only did that to get tickets, to get people's butts in their seats. Which brings me to why I hated the cameo scene, because they only did that for fan service. No, it didn't serve the plot at all. It was just there to give audience a cheering point. That's why it was dead silent while that stuff was happening, because it was an applause. It was like a 5-minute applause break in the middle of a movie.
I don't know about applause break. I thought it was cool to show the actual multiverse in different. I'm not saying it's not fan service because it totally is, but I'm saying I thought it was cool to just stop and show through the Speed Force all these different universes, especially right before they showed the universes collapsing. Because it's like might as well show them before they were collapsing.
I thought it was cool, but I didn't think it was necessary. I think just to show their own universe collapsing would have been fine. They just were like, fuck it. Let's show all the universes and let's get some real fucking buzz talking about it so people come and see it.
I also thought it was cool because this being the end of the DCEU, I don't know another time they're going to be able to do all that.
I liked it, personally. I thought it was really cool.
Kim was
pretty I thought it wasn't cool. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really funny to see Nick Cage as Superman and to like kind of sprinkle that little bit of like old like fan service lore in there. But I just think it was a big corporate cash grab because they're like, ooh, if we throw in some hidden cameos in here, people will tweet about it and they'll want to buy tickets and come sit down and watch the movie. That's all that scene was.
Was it necessary? No. Was it unnecessary? I would say no to that either. I feel like it didn't make a difference, you know?
Yeah, people like, were reacting in bad taste too because a lot of those actors they cameoed were dead. Or dead already.
Exactly. Yeah, they CGI'd in their body.
Yeah.
I liked it. But I want to get into pros because we've been talking
pros.
about for a while.
These are my pros.
Y'all have just been shitting on the movie for 30 minutes. What do you mean?
Noah's been defending it. I've been shitting on it.
Yeah. All right, well, I want to get into some pros that I have.
Okay, I can go ahead.
Some pros too.
And it's kind of going against what Edward said. Or one of them. But my first pro is I loved how they portrayed how the smallest little action changes everything. Because throughout the movie, they kept going back to the can of tomato soup. They kept
contrast to what I said. That's like the best part about Flesh Boy.
Just my other pros. But anyways, especially how it ended, like everything went back to the can of soup. Even with the dad later on, when the dad looked up from the camera because he moved the tomatoes to soup. Everything just goes back to a simple little can, you know? I thought that was amazing. I also think it showed his maturity too at that end scene when he has to take the can out of the basket. You know, it shows that he's learned not all things are fixable. You know, like you just have to live with some choices.
And I loved that scene.
That's my favorite scene.
If he let his dad get caught. Because him moving that can to the top shelf and letting his dad undermines everything he just learned. Because he was like, let me fix this. Actually, I'm going to make one more itsy bitsy change. And then when I get back and see that the world is messed up again, why are you not fucking Bruce Wayne? Who the fuck are you?
That was actually something I don't mean to go back to cons real quick, but yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, well, why would he do that if he knows he just learned that he like everything else, like it's all the butterfly effect no matter what you do.
Yeah. That it would have been such a more powerful scene if he like thought about it and then just like cried and said sorry, Dad, and just went back.
Yeah, I agree.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too.
The other pro, and this is where you're gonna disagree with me, but let me get my thoughts out on it. My favorite scene in the whole movie was that fight scene with General Zod. I thought, for a few different reasons. One, when both Barrys were like running around in the circles, fighting everyone, and they had like sick music playing, like that was the best action scene in the whole movie. Like I was just vibing. I loved it. I loved the way they fought,
the cohesion between the four heroes was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. And
I agree.
I also loved. He kind of matured in that scene too because he kept going back. Well, our Barry only went back maybe like 3 times, but each time Supergirl and Batman died. And that's when he stopped. You could see it click. That's when he realized, both for that scene and for the end of the movie, that's when he realized, I can't fix it. Like, some things are just not meant to be fixed. Some things are going to be broken forever. Like, you know, that's kind of where it clicked for him that he can't keep going back in time to try to save Batman and Supergirl. But also that's when it clicked that he would have to put the can of soup back.
Dude, the realization and sadness in his face was like so sad. I was like, damn, dude.
Like he just stopped moving in the middle of the Speed Force, and like you knew.
Yeah.
See,
That's what wrong.
I agree, but I wish they would have had either Zod be more present in the movie or had a different scene at the end, because it felt really out of place. Like that scene right there, badass, fucking amazing. The CGI was actually pretty decent during that part with them running. All the other models, like the big guy and when they were like fighting the Kryptonians, those models looked like shit. Yeah. But like the Flash themselves looked really, really nice. Supergirl, Batman looked really, really nice. Batman sacrificing himself willingly after the first time Batman died. I was like, no, that's the fucking dumbest shit ever. Batman, you already knew that there was a force field there because he shot it earlier.
Oh yeah, he did die from the force field.
Why would he crash his plane into it after he fucking knew that it was there?
Yeah,
the fucking barbarian. I wish they had had a better villain there. That way they could have had a more impactful fight scene there. Because it just felt like one of those big budget, like, oh, here's your big CGI monster fight at the end. Knock yourself out. Fuck off.
But I think it intensifies how the whole multiverse thing, because it shows this universe, Zod's supposed to win. Yeah, the world's supposed to collapse in this universe. Like you can't change that, even though he thinks he can.
Yeah, I agree. But if that would have been present throughout his entire time in that universe, it would have been fine. But it didn't, and it just showed it at the end. And they were like, "Oh, by the way, just in case you forgot, here's the bad guy."
Also, I did like he wasn't a big part of the movie, and I wish he was. I don't like how little of an impact he made, but the character itself, the evil Barry, I really liked that. I really liked when I learned is because when he kept getting stuff stuck in his arm, and then once the other guy came back and I saw the same thing in his arm, that's immediately I knew. I was like, oh, the reason he has a suit is because he keeps getting
stabbed and shit and fucked up.
Yeah,
personally,
I liked that.
Like I said earlier, I think the better villain for this, if you're not going to do the Reverse Flash, would have been the Black Flash, which is the Flash that is there, eats speedster souls, and it's the punishment for time traveling. Like he's the Flash's punishment for time traveling. You have the original Flash sacrifice himself to the Black Flash because he fucked up. Have the young Flash go back in time, fix everything, be the one to come back to the present. That's how you rewrite the main villain. And you can just have the Black Flash just like looming in every scene because he's a different character. You can have him be present and not just feel like something you shoehorn in the last 10 minutes.
I agree. I wish they
expanded. And then you get that origin story for the Flash that you were talking about, because then it would have been even more heartbreaking for the young Barry to realize that, oh man, I grew up with my mom, but it turns out I wasn't supposed to have that at all. And then he has to deal with the guilt of that, like knowing that he's the reason, like shit broke for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can do a lot more interesting stuff having that go on in the future. But
that's not what they did. They
decided.
It is what it is. The character was still cool, I think, in my opinion. But
to be fair,
demolished this movie.
To be fair, it's a weird position to be in. It like literally going into the movie and telling them like, "All right, this is it. This is the last DCU movie."
Yeah,
or like halfway through production, you tell them that, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
Warner Brothers absolutely demolished this movie. Warner Brothers ruined the Flash movie. Probably ruined the idea of a Flash movie going forward. Guarantee you won't see Flash in any kind of media outside of comics for at least another fucking 10, 20 years.
I disagree. I disagree. I think the production was bad, but that's like it. Other than that, I liked the movie, enjoyed the movie very much in its core.
Assuming Warner Brothers doesn't fuck with James Gunn, maybe he brings the character back sooner. But
he sounds like he wants to.
But if like Warner Brothers, like, nah, man, the last time we made a Flash movie, we lost $250,000. Fuck that. You know,
they are just desperate for money right now.
Exactly. I think this movie was sad for me. I love the Iris West character. The actor that got to play her was really good. I wish she had more impact in the movie, though.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about her, to be honest, now that you bring her up.
Like, my favorite part about The Flash is him balancing his relationship with Iris. Especially, like, in the early Flash, because he never tells Iris, like, in the beginning. So that whole, like, him always being late to things struggle with Iris is what makes their relationship kind of interesting at first.
Yeah.
So to kind of just sideline that is just like, damn, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, all the components were there. They had stuff that they could have just elaborated on to help it, but it is what it is.
The score was really, really nice in this.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I agree.
It was clean. And like the Flash's lightning effects when he's running, fucking absolutely phenomenal. Like I love the way, like whenever he's running from Central City, which is where he lives, when he's running from there to Gotham to help with the hospital, that scene where he's running,
so
fucking
cool.
Phenomenal, dude. It was so fucking cool.
Best Flash scene ever.
I love too how they subtly hinted that he beat Superman in the race because he was like, "Yeah, they're fast, but we're faster."
Yeah.
Like that little sly line. I was like, Henry Cavill got his ass beat in that race. Bitch.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, yeah. That's right. That's funny. It is getting, our review's getting a little long. I do want to.
I'm done with my stuff, but yeah.
Just want to bring up George Clooney at the end. I told Noah, I was like, I couldn't remember who that was, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh wait,
I recognize him right away.
He played Batman.
Yeah.
I don't think they're definitely not gonna keep him.
I think they are.
James Cameron said that's not gonna be him.
You mean
James Cameron?
I mean,
I honestly believe, because they said they had like 3 different alternate endings. I honestly believe they chose that one last minute because, like, as a gag. And I wonder if it's like, oh, this is like signifying this is a different universe than DCU. Like, oh, this is completely separate now.
I also thought the end credit scene was terrible. I mean, it was nothing important. It's kind of mid.
I don't expect it to be important.
They have nothing funny.
They have nothing else to
show. But it was just like nothing special.
I think that end credit scene would have been a lot funnier if he was like, "Yeah, you and Diana fucked," and then started a world-ending war between each other.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, that's great, man." All drunk.
Oh, that's crazy, bro. I'm gonna hit her up. Face plants.
Just drunk text her.
So I should call her.
I should call her.
Wonder Woman and Superman that get together.
Not in Flashpoint. Batman. In Flashpoint, the war starts because Wonder Woman sleeps with Aquaman, and Mara finds out and tries to fight Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman kills Mara because Mara tries to post up.
And then it starts a war.
Yeah. And then Aquaman's like, "Bro, you killed my wife." And she's like, "You just fucked me, dog." And then they're like, "Actually, we're just going to fight each other." And then they destroy the planet.
Oh, it's over, yeah. No. But, yeah, ratings. We're going into ratings.
I'm going to go last because I'll have the most different out of both of y'all.
Oh, y'all are going to hate my... Edward's going to hate my rating. I was originally going to give it a 9. And then I went down to like an 8 after talking, but I think I'm going to stick with 8.5.
I've got it at a 7.5.
But it's not that different. I got it at 5.5.
That's not that bad. Honestly, I thought you were going worse.
No. I mean, like scene by scene, it's a really, really great movie. But whenever you look at it all together as a cohesive story, it just doesn't mesh as well.
So we're at like a 7.
Honestly, that's not that bad. It's kind of what I expected.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a mid movie. Like, it's good, it's fun, but it's not like the best superhero movie ever made, like James Gunn was saying.
I think it's funny that I usually rate it pretty high. Every movie I rate higher than normal. I feel like Edward rates it lower than normal most of the time, and Noah's right in the middle, so it always evens out to like a good middle number.
I think I rate it pretty fairly because for me, 5 is a mid movie, and most movies are just kind of mid there, you know. I go based off the number.
That's fair.
I would say this is a slightly above average movie. Yeah.
I will say I actually would have given it an 8, but I can't let that CGI slip, bro. So I was like, nah, I'm deducting off of that.
The CGI when he's in the time travel room and all the arenas around him, it looks like the MLB arenas or the Mii baseball arenas where they're all flat. That's what it looked like, dog. It looked like dog shit. Shit pissed me off. The moment I saw it, I was like, oh, yep, this is a CGI they were talking about. You look like a PlayStation 1 model. It looked like they pulled a fucking character out of Web of Shadows, dog.
Definitely not the worst CGI I've seen, but it's up there.
The time travel scenes where he's in the arena look like the CW.
That's not a good thing.
I will say it was a really interesting way for them to show him time traveling. I actually really liked the way that they showed that.
Was beautiful.
The time skip of it, yeah. All right, we're going long. Thank you for watching.
Right.
Links in the description. See you later.